What's going on to you, Scorpios? Hopefully, y'all are having a good day. So, you actually have the Lovers, the King of Raphael, and then you also have the Nine of Gabriel. So, the situation for you is that a lot of you, Scorpios, excuse me, a lot of y'all in the comment section, a lot of you Scorpios don't like to talk too much. But a lot of you Scorpios, the last Scorpio reading that I did, it really seemed to really affect y'all in a good way, because a lot of you Scorpios basically came out of the shadows or being invisible to be like, yeah, some real stuff that I was saying. So thank you. Appreciate it. So the Lovers, the King of Raphael, and the Nine of Gabriel, right? Right? I was talking about the last time about the Lovers, like you realize once again, like there's nothing else for you to do with this particular person. Now it's just a matter of you just have to go find someone else that's better suited for you. And again, it's the same thing that reigns true, right? A lot of you, your perception of what love is again changing, right? Not everyone that basically likes each other is going to work out in a relationship. But see, now you know why. Because people will allow their shortcomings and their dysfunctions to interrupt the good connection that themselves and you have together, right? And so they will make that more important than the actual overall um, health of themselves and you, right? And the connection that the two of you have. And so what happens is that a lot of you Scorpios realize this, right? And so the thing about it is that the Nine of Gabriel, because every time I got my heart broken, right, to kind of show y'all what I'm talking about, every time I got my heart broken, there was an apotheosis. In other words, there was a something in me that was awakening. There was the self-reflection that came with that. Like, you know what I mean? Every time, especially when it comes to love, this is why I was trying to say you can't be scared of it, because love is one of the best ways to actually speed up the soul's process in cultivation. Person being scared, when you hear them, they sound stupid. When a person is afraid of love, they literally sound stupid, because when you understand what you're listening to, they're telling you, don't go out there and be in love, or whatever the case may be. The person gonna get you. And it's like, yeah, but you don't have, okay, I get you, but two things with that, right? One, you don't have to be in love in order to get got. And number two, okay, why can't you still be in love but still have self-respect? Yes, be in love. Nobody's telling you not to. But what people are trying to tell you to do is be wise, though. Sound to me like the person who's warning other people to not be in love doesn't have wisdom and isn't learning from their mistakes, to be quite honest with you, right? And so the thing, and develop spiritually and soulfully as well, right? Data, and it sounds to me like they don't want to do that, if I'm being honest. And so the Nine of Gabriel here represents how a lot of you Scorpios now are in a position where, so you have, a lot of you have, and then you have the Seven of Raphael too. So it's this sense of a lot of you Scorpios have allowed, like, how do I explain this? You Scorpios have allowed room for you to learn more about love, and to now begin to understand more of it. Not saying that you didn't learn it, but a lot of you Scorpios have learned to be less afraid of the heartbreak that comes with it, because a lot of you are understanding that this is the same kind of stuff that people be talking about when they say that they're just going to let the person find them. Now, granted, I want to go ahead and let you Scorpios know that's BS. That's hogwash. But what the concept, it's not even a very good concept, that that they're talking about. But the original concept is leaving room, getting out of your own way. Getting out of your own way. Now you're in a position where the ego has been subdued, right? Thinking that you can't be rejected and things can't go the wrong way in your relationships. And what happens is it sparks off this idea of, why can't I be in love? How come I want this but I can't have this? So it gets you to start thinking. It gets the wheels turning. It gets you to at least be more conscious, be more aware of the fact that you out here, you get to know people, right? But you're learning how to be more conscious. And so what's going on here is that this is what I was talking about. When you leave space for you to learn, now that is basically the parent of what people would say, oh, I'm just going to give up on love and let love find me. That is not very good advice when people say that. But the concept in where it comes from is profound, because it's saying that it's basically speaking about where you Scorpios are at right now, where you are. It says that you Scorpios now are learning or learning to learn. You are leaving it open for you to now accept people, right, for who they are, learn about them, and then accept them for who they are. And then what happens is that if they change, right, or they show you something else, now it's an aspect of, you will accept it for what it is, that they are both. These are people who do this, but then they also have this going on. And so they are essentially, they haven't made peace with themselves, right? And so because of that, what's going on here with that is you have the Four of Michael. And so what the Four of Michael now, what you're learning about yourself is that those type of people, you can't be in a relationship with them at all, because like I've been saying, they're vacillating between the two aspects of themselves, or certain particular concepts of themselves, right? They're vacillating between those two things. What they're doing is that they like you, but then they don't like you. That is the same BS as to when you'll hear a bunch of people get online, right? Oh, I don't like you. The person only likes you if they make six figures and all that. Look, the truth is they like you, but the thing about it is they're at odds with themselves. And so there's a construct that says they can't like you based upon you don't fit this egocentric criteria. Because what do you think all that 6'6", 6 feet, six-pack abs, six figures, all this other type of stuff come from? All it is trying to essentially satiate the ego. What is going on, fam? What? And then it's Friday too, so a bunch of comments is gonna happen. You feel me? But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here with that is that all of it is to satiate the ego, right? The person wouldn't be caught with you because the person is thinking about a photo op. If people catch me hanging out with this one and that one, what are they gonna say? But then the other aspect of it is they like you, Scorpios. But now it's you, and you could see when you develop the skill, you could see the divide in their eyes, because now it's you looking at it and you could see the cognitive dissonance. You could see the cognitive dissonance, the split, the fracturing, because now it's like, yeah, they like you, but at the same time, it's like they got to be at odds with you. But then at the end of the day, they still doing what you want them to do, but then they at odds with you. They'll make you into the villain of the story, but then at the same time, on the low, they'll still hang out with you. What you Scorpios are looking for, and I get it, what you Scorpios are looking for is for a person who is holistic. right? There is no hard split like that. They have peace. It's not this thing where they feel like they are ashamed because they have to satiate the ego for other people's sake. It's like, no, they're not embarrassed to be in the street with you. And it's not that you Scorpios are embarrassing to be around. It's just that, you know, they can embrace the aspect of themselves that are real. And so the Ten of Gabriel and the Knight of Ariel for you Scorpios is also about how this is a situation for you where, and this is what you're learning to leave behind. You're learning to leave behind people whom are not truthful to themselves because they're too distracted with and they're too preoccupied with cognitive dissonance, right? They have not again, then you have the Four of Gabriel. They have not learned to make peace with themselves. You Scorpios are still striving to learn to make peace with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're still striving, and in certain aspects, you Scorpios have, but you Scorpios are learning to put more pieces together, right? More than the pieces that you obviously have done, because there's been tremendous progress with you Scorpios. But at the same time, you're still doing that yourself. But the progress that you have made is beyond the progress that they've made. They're probably not even making any kind of progress. This is why you'll see people's growth has been stunted emotionally and mentally and spiritually and on a soul level for years, and they never develop. People still crying about some stuff that happened to them when they were 8 years old, and they still sound illiterate. They still sound emotionally illiterate and immature. And it's like, well, when are you gonna grow up? And they don't. And so the situation with that is the Ace of Ariel and the Knight of Raphael represents you Scorpios now being beyond that. Someone that you meet who is still has that growth that is stunted, that emotional and spiritual and mental and soulful growth. You have enough you are developing self-respect within yourself to not be around that. You know, to not actually be around a person who would, who would have that great divide within themselves, right? Because that's what's driving them up a wall and making them sound insane, basically, right? Literally insane, right? They're hanging out with you Scorpios, but then they don't want to be seen with you. They're out in the street with you, but then they don't want to be, but you know what I'm saying? But they want that to be on the low. They don't want anybody to see the two of y'all hanging out. It's like, yo, like, it's too much compartmentalization. Like, it's too much. You got to pick a side, choose. And then you have, and how they do that is they have to reflect. They have to gather themselves, right? You hear gathering themselves, right? Have to gather themselves. And they are not doing that. And so what's happening here is talking about specifically the X, but a lot of people in general. So what you're doing is you Scorpios within your own selves are understanding the value of you doing it, the value that you have built yourself up to be based upon the fact that you understand internal peace. You need to find someone that can actually be in a relationship with you. And then it's not this great divide between themselves and themselves where inwardly it's like, yeah, I like the Scorpios, but society, meaning the people who made it trendy or people talking about it, enough people talking about it, made it trendy. You got to have this, you got to have that. Look, let me tell you something. The person who I was kicking it with, you dig what I'm saying, a few months ago or whatnot, that person was plus size. I am not preoccupied too much with these beauty standards, people laughing. Listen, living in New York, especially the Mecca, especially like Manhattan, New York, New York. Let me tell you something. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you will see all manner of things here. I've seen all manner of things. Okay, all right. I am not ashamed to be walking the street, hanging out with my lady, and she's a little bit plus size. Okay, if she's planning on losing the weight, I don't have a problem with that because she is addressing that issue. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. So you Scorpios have to accept, you know what I'm saying? You have to interact with people who are not that divided within themselves. So let's clarify the Knight of Raphael, and then let's get out of here for you Scorpios. Knight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, Seven of Cups, Page of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, and then you have the Six of Wands. So, Nine of Wands, Seven of Cups, Page of Swords. These three cards right here for you are really about how, once again, this is a situation for you where the Knight of Raphael really represents people you're gravitating towards and people whom are coming to you, right? And in the interactions that you will have in the future, that you're having now and that you will have in the future. The Nine of Wands, the Seven of Cups, and the Page of Swords here represents you will begin to see it even faster. You'll begin to see it even faster. You'll begin to understand. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I thought somebody was at my door. I guess it must have been the next door neighbors or something like that. Anyway, then I thought I heard a knock on the door. But anyway, sorry about that. The point that I'm trying to make here with you Scorpios is y'all are in a place where what y'all got going on is sorry about that. What it is that I was saying is that what y'all got going on is you Scorpios will be able to see that a lot faster. You'll be able to see like, okay, this person has a divide within themselves, right? And that you can't really take them seriously until they work out that divide. Because then you have you have the Four of Pentacles and the Six of Wands. You'll have people who will try to convince you to give them a chance. But again, until they have addressed that divide, truly addressed it, it won't work. And so now you have the Six of Wands, right? And the Six of Wands really is about you being in a space where, once again, the Six of Wands, you've accomplished that. You've resolved that within yourself. You Scorpios understand that you won't be caught up with giving people who have that kind of divide a chance, because you will understand where it always leads to. It's inevitable. They can deny it as much as they want, but until they actually address it, it will always lead to them halfway dating you, right? They like you, but then they doing all this and all these cartoon antics, right? All this stupid stuff. You got to make 6 figures, you got to be 6 feet tall, or you got to be buxom and look like this, and you have to look particularly this way, and you got to be light skinned with blue eyes. It's goofy, but that's it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. Trying to get the YouTube channel to 100K. We have 27,384 subs. Smash the subscribe button, like button, hit the notification bell, set the notification bell to all so you can be notified whenever I drop my videos. If you want to come through and get a personal reading, the link to that is in the comment section below. Peace.